Money shapes empires, breaks families, and silently measures how the world values you. But here's the truth few dare to speak. Being good isn't enough to get rich. Millions of believers pray for financial breakthrough while those with strategy quietly rise above them. They follow laws not taught in school or even in church, laws of power, perception, and discipline that the Bible hints at but few truly understand. If you've ever wondered why your faith is strong but your finances are weak, this message will shake the foundation of how you see wealth. Because poverty isn't always a result of bad luck. Sometimes it's the result of misunderstanding how the world really works. In this journey, we'll uncover 7 timeless principles for making and managing money. Ancient truths twisted by the world, but purified through biblical light. You'll see how the same strategies that built kingdoms can help you build stability, purpose, and legacy under God's guidance. This isn't about greed or manipulation. It's about wisdom. As Jesus said in Matthew 10:16, "Be wise as serpents and innocent as doves." By the end, you'll understand why the rich think differently, act decisively, and multiply strategically, while most remain trapped in cycles of hope without action. So open your mind and prepare your spirit, because what you're about to hear could change how you see money forever. Principle 1. Control perception. People judge by appearances. Proverbs 22:1 reminds us, a good name is more desirable than great riches. In a world driven by image, perception builds empires. Power begins not in wealth itself, but in how others perceive your worth. You can be gifted, talented, and anointed. But if your presence communicates uncertainty, the world overlooks you. People judge not by what you are, but by what you project. Joseph understood this. Though a slave, he presented himself with excellence before Pharaoh and was elevated from the dungeon to the palace. Perception doesn't replace truth, but it determines who listens to your truth. Control of perception isn't deception. It's intentional presentation. The wise invest not only in assets, but in how those assets reflect discipline and order. When people see structure around you, they assume structure within you. God himself values presentation. When he gave Moses the instructions for the tabernacle, every detail reflected beauty and precision. Excellence honors God. Appearance reflects reverence. Humility doesn't mean invisibility. Too many believers mistake modesty for mediocrity. Jesus didn't hide his authority to prove holiness. He walked with confidence. Your financial destiny begins with how you represent divine excellence in daily life. People invest in what they trust, and they trust what looks prepared. Your name is your first currency, and reputation is the first bank account you must manage. David proved this truth when he faced Goliath. He didn't walk forward like a shepherd boy. He spoke like a warrior. Confidence shifted perception, and perception shifted history. Your speech, your posture, and your actions either open or close doors before qualifications are even considered. Many stay broke not because they lack ability, but because they project smallness. They shrink their voice, minimize their vision, and mistake humility for hiding. In the digital age, perception travels faster than truth. Social media amplifies voices, not because of value, but because of clarity. Those who curate how the world sees them gain influence that others ignore. The key is to reflect excellence, not ego. Let your brand be integrity, your speech be wisdom, and your discipline speak louder than your ambition. The world doesn't reward the loudest, it rewards the most consistent reflection of excellence. Perception is a divine tool when handled righteously. Genesis 41:14 shows us Joseph shaving and changing clothes before meeting Pharaoh, not vanity, but preparation. Appearance opened the door before his words could. Likewise, if you're praying for promotion, align your perception with purpose. Dress the part, think the part, and act like the part. You can't attract abundance while projecting disorder. The world judges by sight. Wisdom teaches you to use that law for influence, not pride. People believe what they can visualize. When presenting your work, business, or ministry, ask, does this reflect excellence? Excellence is evangelism in motion. Daniel stood out in Babylon because he carried an excellent spirit. That spirit made kings trust him. God's people should never appear average when they represent the creator of beauty itself. Your image is the container of your influence, and neglecting it is negligence toward your calling. Your emotions, your wardrobe, your words, each shape how others perceive your assignment. You may pray for investors, but are you presenting something worth believing in? Even Jesus used parables, visual language that help people see truth before understanding it. People follow what they can see before they embrace what they can believe. But perception without substance is manipulation. The righteous must balance appearance with authenticity. Integrity supports image the way a foundation supports a tower. Without it, your rise will collapse. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men." Excellence without ego. That's divine perception in practice. Control perception not to impress, but to inspire. Let people see in you the reflection of a kingdom built on order, grace, and wisdom. The poor often wait to be seen before they act. The wise act in a way that makes them seen. You are heaven's ambassador. Your discipline, posture, and presentation reflect your king. When you respect your own calling, the world begins to respect it too. Principle 2. Master your emotions. True wealth begins in the mind, but poverty is born in emotion. The battle for success is not fought in markets or offices. It's fought within. Most people are slaves to their feelings. Excitement makes them spend, fear makes them freeze, anger makes them quit, and envy makes them compare. Yet those who build wealth understand this one secret. Clarity only comes through calm. It's not that the rich are always smarter, they are simply steadier. They move when others panic, and they wait when others rush. Mastering emotion is mastering motion, the ability to direct your energy, not be directed by it. Self-control is a superpower. Discipline under pressure is what separates the wise from the wasteful. When storms come, emotions push you to react, but purpose tells you to pause. The impatient invest too soon, speak too fast, and burn bridges that patience could have built. The calm observe, plan, and move with intention. They know storms eventually pass and that panic builds nothing lasting. Emotional mastery isn't suppression, it's strategic expression. It means responding to truth, not reacting to tension. Control over emotion doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means your feelings stop leading. When Jesus faced betrayal, he didn't lash out. He leaned into his mission. In Matthew 26, when Peter struck the guard, Jesus said, "Put away your sword." That was not weakness, it was wisdom. True strength is restraint. Proverbs 16:32 declares, "Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city." Emotional victory is greater than external conquest. Those who conquer themselves eventually conquer circumstances. Poverty thrives on emotional instability. People who can't control feelings can't control finances. They spend when they're sad, buy to feel valuable, and give up when delayed gratification demands maturity. Comfort feels good, but kills growth. Pain feels hard, but builds discipline. Those who rise financially learn to choose purpose over pleasure. They delay what feels good now for what will feel right later. It's not about denying emotion, it's about training it to obey your vision. Consider the farmer. He sows in one season and reaps in another. He doesn't demand harvest tomorrow. That's emotional strength in motion, hope anchored in patience. The impatient spend what they should invest, quit what they should endure, and pray for results without preparation. Many prayers fail not because God said no, but because emotion said, "I quit." The wise treat time as an ally, not an enemy. They plant faithfully and wait strategically. Knowing harvests reward endurance, not impatience. Psalm 37:7 reminds us, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways." Stillness is spiritual power. It protects your peace and preserves your plan. When you're calm, you hear God's guidance clearly. When you're frantic, every sound feels like direction. The emotionally mature are not moved by trends or envy. They move in divine timing. Stillness keeps you from copying the world's chaos and losing sight of heaven's pace. The emotionally weak depend on motivation. The strong depend on discipline. Motivation fades with mood. Discipline remains through storms. Successful people don't chase feelings, they follow systems. They show up even when it's boring. Emotional strength turns ordinary habits into extraordinary results. Those who remain consistent when others complain eventually inherit what others abandoned. While others stop, they stride. While others talk, they transform. Emotional mastery means knowing when to move, when to wait, and when to walk away. Urgency isn't always opportunity. Many have lost peace chasing what seemed urgent but wasn't aligned. Ecclesiastes 7:9 warns, "Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. Haste is the enemy of wisdom." Control your emotions before they control your destiny. Don't let temporary frustration rewrite eternal vision. The true test of mastery is how you behave when everything breaks. Do you panic or do you plan? The emotionally strong don't see failure as final, they see it as feedback. Setbacks don't stop them, they sharpen them. Every disappointment becomes data, every loss a lesson. When your emotions stop deciding your worth, you stop making decisions from weakness. You start building from wisdom. Emotion becomes your servant, not your master. Mastering emotion isn't optional, it's essential. Until you conquer your inner storms, you'll never command outer success. Emotional immaturity leads to financial instability. Emotional mastery creates generational legacy. When you rule your inner world, your outer world begins to respond differently. Your words gain weight, your plans gain power, and your peace becomes your profit. Remember, feelings are signals, not instructions. When you bring them under purpose, success stops being accidental, it becomes inevitable. Principle: build alliances strategically. No one wins alone. Every lasting empire was built through connection. Wealth is rarely the product of one person's brilliance. It's the result of purposeful partnerships. Those who rise financially understand that one right connection can change everything. They don't chase crowds, they cultivate circles. The poor often isolate themselves out of pride, fear, or distrust. The wise know that collaboration multiplies capacity. When you surround yourself with excellence, mediocrity becomes uncomfortable. Strategic alliances don't just create opportunity, they create accountability. When independence may sound powerful, but isolation is expensive. Every destiny is tied to divine connection. Even Jesus chose a team. Each disciple brought something different: courage, intellect, compassion. And together they changed the world. If your dream only fits in your hands, it's too small. God designed success to require partnership because unity reflects His nature. The Father, Son, and Spirit are a model of divine collaboration. That's why your growth often accelerates when you find the right people. Ecclesiastes 4:9 reminds us, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor." This isn't just poetic wisdom, it's financial logic. When you combine ideas, experience, and accountability, you multiply results. Great builders and visionaries shorten their learning curve by learning from others. The poor see mentorship as weakness. The wise see it as leverage. Partnerships are not dependence, they're divine strategy. Alone, you'll survive. Together, you'll multiply. Strategic alliances demand discernment. Not everyone who claps for you is for you. Some connections are blessings, others are bait. The wrong person can delay your destiny just as much as the right one can accelerate it. Samson lost his strength through the wrong connection. Discernment is your relational radar. Use it. Surround yourself with people who challenge your growth, not comfort your stagnation. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." True alliances sharpen your purpose. False ones dull your edge. In business, partnership is the power of shared perspective. Collaboration opens doors that talent alone cannot. But every alliance requires balance. Trust must walk hand in hand with boundaries. Partnership doesn't mean surrendering independence. It means combining strength. The goal isn't dependency, but multiplication. The enemy thrives on division because he knows that unity multiplies impact. Even the builders of Babel understood that power. Imagine what godly unity can achieve when guided by purpose, not pride. Amos 3:3 asks, "Can two walk together unless they agree?" Agreement doesn't mean sameness. It means shared direction. Don't partner with people who don't share your destination. Some relationships look beneficial but are spiritually bankrupt. A misaligned alliance can turn a blessing into a burden. Your network shapes your net worth, but your peace depends on discernment. Pray before you partner. When God isn't in the connection, even the best deal becomes a disaster. Humility is the secret currency of partnership. Pride isolates. Humility attracts. Those who think they know everything stay broke in knowledge and opportunity. The wise seek counsel. Proverbs 15:22 teaches, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed." Counsel guards you from blind spots and protects you from costly mistakes. Listening is a form of learning. Teachability is a wealth code. Every mentor you ignore is a lesson you'll pay for later. Every relationship is an exchange. Time, energy, trust, and information. The key is balance. Never align with those who only take but never build. The right connection multiplies both parties. The wrong one drains one and feeds the other. Be intentional. Communicate clearly. Boundaries protect blessing. Godly partnerships bring peace. Ungodly ones bring confusion. Your destiny deserves clarity. Don't compromise it for comfort. Think of Ruth and Naomi. Ruth's loyalty created a divine alliance that unlocked her destiny. She didn't chase opportunity, she stayed faithful, and favor found her. Every relationship in your life is either a bridge or a barrier. Identify which is which. The people you walk with determine where you arrive. Loyalty, faith, and vision combined can move mountains that effort alone cannot. Building alliances strategically is about more than profit. It's about purpose. The kingdom of God advances through cooperation, not competition. Stop seeing everyone as a rival. Start seeing them as potential partners in divine assignment. When you unite with those who share your mission, you multiply miracles. Alone you can go fast. Together you can go far. And when your alliances are blessed by God, no opposition can stop your advancement. Principle 3. Leverage power, not pity. The truth about wealth is uncomfortable. The world doesn't reward pity, it rewards power. Power in its purest form is responsibility. Those who rise financially understand that strength attracts opportunity, while weakness invites exploitation. Society favors those who act with certainty and think strategically. The shift begins when you stop waiting for rescue and start recognizing your resources. God has already placed in your hands what others are praying for. The moment you stop asking, "Who will help me?" and start asking, "What can I do with what I have?" you step into dominion. Pity is a silent thief. It feels comforting, but cripples potential. Every time you beg for sympathy, you teach people to overlook your strength. Suffering may be part of your story, but it should never be your identity. The wise turn pain into preparation, turning wounds into wisdom. They understand that hardship is heaven's university. Every struggle teaches survival, and every survival teaches strategy. Power is not arrogance, it's awareness. It's knowing that your life is not a charity case, but a kingdom assignment. Jesus revealed this truth through the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. The servant who hid his gift out of fear lost everything. The master didn't call him humble. He called him wicked and lazy. Fear disguises itself as humility, but God calls it unfaithful stewardship. The servants who multiplied what they had were rewarded with more. That's divine economics. Use it or lose it. Responsibility multiplies reward. Passivity multiplies poverty. Heaven doesn't respond to tears. It responds to action. Power begins with stewardship. Many pray for more while mishandling what they already have. God won't give you what you can't govern. The first proof of power is order, managing your world with discipline. In Genesis, Adam was placed in Eden not to sit, but to tend and keep. Dominion started with diligence. If you can't manage a room, you can't manage a kingdom. The wealthy are not always lucky, they are organized. Order attracts increase. Disorder repels it. The world honors confidence because confidence reflects preparation. Those who walk with assurance open doors others can only knock on. Confidence is not pride, it's preparation made visible. Luke 10:19 reminds us, I have given you authority to overcome all the power of the enemy. Authority is spiritual currency. When you walk in it, even the enemy must respect your presence. God gave you authority to build, lead, and multiply. Why live as though you're waiting for permission? The powerful understand leverage, the ability to use little for much. They don't complain about lack, they maximize access. They turn time into value, knowledge into influence, and networks into results. They don't need pity because they've learned productivity. The poor often work harder but produce less because they lack leverage. The wise work smarter and let systems work for them. Power isn't about domination, it's about direction, knowing how to position what you have to produce what you need. Victimhood is seductive because it releases you from responsibility. It whispers that you deserve comfort, not change. But every time you play the victim, you hand your authority to circumstances. The greatest awakening happens when you realize no one is coming to save you, because God already equipped you to save yourself. 2 Timothy 1:7 declares, For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline. You are not powerless. You are preloaded with divine potential. It's time to use it. True power doesn't shout, it shows. The lion doesn't announce his authority. His calm commands respect. Likewise, quiet confidence speaks louder than pride ever could. The powerful lead through presence, not pressure. You don't need to prove power, you need to practice it. Walk in composure, act with clarity, and let consistency be your roar. Influence doesn't need volume, it needs value. Never confuse meekness with weakness. Meekness is power under control, the ability to dominate but choosing to serve. Christ modeled it perfectly. He could have summoned angels, yet he chose submission to purpose. That's divine strength. The world uses power to oppress. The righteous use it to uplift. Pity seeks attention. Power seeks impact. Choose empowerment over emotional dependency, and you'll watch your influence multiply. Whoa, stop waiting for pity. The world is moved by those who move. God didn't create you to be pitied. He created you to be purposeful. Genesis 1:28 commands, Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. That's not a suggestion, it's a mandate. Walk in authority, not apology. Every time you use power with humility, heaven backs your effort. You weren't made to beg, you were made to build. And when you walk boldly in your purpose, pity has no place left to live. Principle 4, think long-term, act swiftly. The difference between those who prosper and those who struggle isn't intelligence, it's perspective. The poor think in days, the average in months, and the wealthy in decades. Vision stretches discipline. If your eyes never look beyond today, you'll keep trading your destiny for temporary comfort. The most powerful people think generationally. They plan for what their grandchildren will inherit. Joseph prepared Egypt for 7 years of famine because he saw beyond the moment. Faith gives you hope, but wisdom gives you horizon. Long-term thinking is about legacy, not luxury. Many chase fast money and instant validation, but fast rarely lasts. Lasting success demands the patience to build what will outlive you. Short-term thinkers crave applause. Long-term thinkers build architecture. God himself modeled this. He laid out redemption from Genesis to Revelation, every step intentional. True builders design with eternity in mind. They plant seeds whose harvest they may never see, because they understand that legacy is the highest form of wealth. Proverbs 21:5 declares, The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. Planning isn't a lack of faith, it's the expression of it. The wise move slowly in thought, but swiftly in action. Waiting isn't wasting, it's preparing. Procrastination, not patience, kills dreams. God gave Noah the vision of the ark, but he didn't build it for him. Noah worked faithfully until the flood came. Vision requires motion. Dreams without deadlines die as fantasies. Thinking long-term requires detaching from the need for immediate results. The world celebrates quick success stories, but hides the years of preparation behind them. Every great builder endures a season of silence before a season of spotlight. Joseph spent years in prison before ruling Egypt. David was anointed king but returned to tend sheep. The road to destiny is paved with delay, but delay is not denial. When you stop fighting the process, you start accelerating your progress. Swift action doesn't mean reckless speed, it means decisive obedience. Many lose blessings because they hesitate at the door of opportunity. Indecision is a thief of destiny. When God told Abraham to leave his homeland, he didn't debate, he departed. Swift action turns revelation into reality. Vision gives direction, but speed ensures arrival. Long-term thinkers act quickly when the season shifts. They know that divine timing is delicate, and hesitation often means forfeiture. James 2:17 reminds us, faith without works is dead. Thinking ahead is faith, acting now is works. You can pray for open doors all year, but if you never walk through them, prayer becomes procrastination. God doesn't bless idleness, He blesses initiative. The moment you receive confirmation, move. Don't let fear disguise itself as wisdom. Fear delays, faith decides. Speed guided by discernment turns dreams into testimony. In all, long-term builders think in systems, not seasons. They create habits that sustain momentum even when motivation fades. The rich don't chase goals, they build structures. They automate excellence. They have routines that produce results on autopilot. Daily habits become invisible engines of destiny. The poor depend on inspiration, the wise depend on instruction. If you want predictable outcomes, build predictable discipline. Short-term emotions destroy long-term visions. Never make permanent decisions in temporary moods. Esau traded his birthright for a bowl of stew. He sold his eternity for appetite. Many do the same today, trading long-term wealth for instant pleasure. Every decision you make either feeds your future or robs it. Proverbs 13:22 teaches, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Legacy demands restraint. Think generationally. Let your grandchildren thank you for your patience. Momentum is the secret ingredient of success. Once you start moving, don't stop. Discipline sustains what desire begins. The world rewards those who act before they feel ready. David ran toward Goliath not because he felt brave, but because he was prepared. Speed and purpose shortens the life of fear. The longer you hesitate, the stronger fear grows. The moment you act, fear begins to fade. Momentum is faith in motion. The secret is balance, patience in planning, urgency in execution. Think like a visionary, move like a soldier. The future belongs to those who prepare thoroughly and execute fearlessly. When your mind dreams in decades but your hands move today, you unite heaven's timing with earth's responsibility. Faith sets direction. Diligence delivers. Those who think small plan for survival. Those who think big plan for succession. Think long-term, act swiftly, and your life will outlast your lifetime. Principle 5. Guard your reputation, then your gold. Wealth can open doors, but character decides whether you stay in the room. Your reputation is the invisible currency that often buys what money cannot. It speaks when you're absent and advocates when you're silent. Many chase riches while neglecting integrity, not realizing that a fortune can be rebuilt, but a name once ruined can take generations to restore. The wise protect their credibility the way kings protect their crown, because influence flows from trust. When people believe in your integrity, they'll invest in your vision. Every opportunity you'll ever receive hinges on one question: can you be trusted? Trust is the most valuable asset in business, ministry, and life. Those who treat it lightly lose everything quickly. Integrity isn't about image, it's about alignment, doing what's right even when no one is watching. Reputation is earned in silence and proven under pressure. When you honor your word privately, God honors your name publicly. He promotes those who can carry character without collapsing under success. Proverbs 22:1 tells us a good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Your name is your brand in both heaven and earth. Joseph's reputation as trustworthy turned him from prisoner to prime minister. Reputation produces recognition. Recognition opens reward. You can borrow money, but you can't borrow credibility. Guard your name like treasure. When people mention you, let honesty be the first thing that comes to mind. A man who loses wealth loses comfort. A man who loses character loses his foundation. The world celebrates results more than righteousness, but heaven's scale is different. True success is when your riches and your righteousness agree. Many have built empires only to watch them crumble under scandal. What you build through deceit must be maintained by deceit, and deception has a short lifespan. Integrity may seem slow, but it is steady. Every righteous choice becomes a seed of credibility that grows into favor later. When your name stands clean before God and men, no amount of slander can silence your influence. Guarding your reputation also means guarding your company. Who you walk with becomes part of your identity. Association is silent endorsement. If you keep company with the dishonest, their stains soon color your name. 1 Corinthians 15:33 warns, "Bad company corrupts good character." Choose your inner circle wisely. Surround yourself with people who would rather correct you in private than cheer you into public ruin. True friends protect your reputation, not just your comfort. In a digital world, your reputation travels faster than your intentions. One careless post, one emotional reaction, one misleading impression can undo years of consistency. The wise pause before they post and reflect before they respond. Every word you release is a seed. Some bear fruit, others bear consequences. Jesus maintained consistency even under attack. His actions always aligned with his mission. Time reveals truth, and consistency kills falsehood. Stay authentic when others perform, and the audience of eternity will reward you. The rich insure their assets, but the wise insure their integrity. They understand that while gold can buy influence, only character can sustain it. Proverbs 10:9 declares, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." Integrity is divine insurance. It covers you in storms of accusation and seasons of misunderstanding. A righteous name becomes a shield. Even when enemies whisper, truth will eventually shout louder. Your reputation is built in obscurity and tested in visibility. What you practice in private determines what you project in public. David was faithful in the pasture before he was favored in the palace. He didn't wait for a crown to act like a king. The poor often wait to be seen before they act with excellence, but the wise act excellently long before they're seen. God promotes those whose integrity shines in hidden places. Honor your word as sacred. Broken promises break credibility. Psalm 15:4 commends the one who keeps an oath even when it hurts. Reliability is a form of royalty. When people know your yes means yes, your influence multiplies. Faithfulness may not be glamorous, but it's magnetic. When your word can be trusted, heaven endorses your endeavors. Credibility is divine currency that never loses value. Gold can vanish overnight, but a good name endures through generations. Build wealth, but guard your name more fiercely than your bank account. When people speak of you, let truth outweigh talent and integrity outshine income. Your children can inherit money, but they cannot inherit reputation. They must witness it. Leave them the legacy of a clean name, and doors will open for them that even your money could not. Because when your name carries honor, your descendants will walk on pathways your integrity paved. Principle 6. Use wisdom to serve God, not pride. Wisdom is the most powerful force on earth and the most dangerous when misused. It can build empires or destroy them. The difference lies in the heart that holds it. Knowledge alone creates arrogance, but wisdom guided by humility creates influence that lasts. Many rise by insight but fall by ego. True success is not measured by how high you climb, but by how grounded you remain. Every revelation, every promotion, every blessing you receive must remind you of the source that gave it. The moment you believe you are self-made, you begin your self-destruction. Wisdom was never meant to glorify man, but to magnify God through man. It's not for manipulation, it's for multiplication. The purpose of insight is to serve, not to dominate. The great men of Scripture, Joseph, Daniel, Solomon, all understood that revelation was a responsibility. They used wisdom to lead people toward God, not away from Him. They knew that the highest intelligence is useless if it doesn't produce righteousness. Wisdom is not ownership, it's stewardship. It's a divine loan that must yield eternal returns. Proverbs 9:10 declares, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." This verse reminds us that true wisdom starts with reverence. The fear of God isn't terror, it's alignment. It's the understanding that every gift must serve its giver. Without reverence, wisdom turns into rebellion. Many fall because they forget who gave them their ability. Pride whispers, "You are your own source," but humility remembers, "I am only a vessel." When wisdom bows to God, it becomes holy. When it rises in pride, it becomes hollow. Wealth and power test wisdom more than poverty ever could. Money magnifies your motives. It exposes what already lives in your heart. If you were selfish when you were poor, wealth will make you greedier. If you were humble, it will make you more generous. Deuteronomy 8:18 reminds us, "Remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power to get wealth." Forgetting that truth turns wisdom into idolatry. The moment you start worshiping what God gave you instead of the God who gave it, you lose both peace and purpose. Wisdom without service becomes pride in disguise. Jesus, the greatest mind in history, used His wisdom to serve. He could have demanded worship, but chose humility instead. When He washed His disciples' feet, He redefined leadership. That's the heart of divine wisdom, strength restrained by compassion. The higher you rise, the lower you must bow. Greatness is not shown by who serves you, but by who you serve. The truly wise lift others as they climb. Ecclesiastes 7:12 teaches, "Wisdom preserves those who have it." Preservation is heaven's reward for humility. Many brilliant minds have fallen because they mistook knowledge for immortality. True wisdom protects you by reminding you of your limits. It says, "You are powerful, but you are not God." Pride crosses boundaries. Humility respects them. Every downfall, from kings to corporations, starts with the same whisper, "You don't need guidance anymore." The wise ignore that voice and stay teachable. Wisdom should be used to enlighten, not to outsmart. The world weaponizes intelligence to manipulate. God sanctifies it to liberate. A truly wise person empowers others, not enslaves them. The greatest leaders create leaders. They measure success not by control, but by contribution. Influence that doesn't inspire is manipulation. The evidence of divine wisdom is fruitfulness, not fame. When you use what you know to help others grow, you multiply heaven's investment in you. James 3:13 asks, "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let them show it by their good life, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom." Wisdom is not proven by speeches, but by service. It's not in words, it's in works. The world measures intelligence by how much you know. God measures it by how well you love. True wisdom creates peace, not pride, transformation, not tension. The wisest people often speak least because their lives are their sermons. When wisdom serves God, it produces rest. When it serves pride, it produces pressure. Many chase knowledge and lose peace in the process. They accumulate facts but lack fulfillment. When you start competing instead of cooperating with God, wisdom turns to weariness. The sign of divine wisdom is serenity, an anchored soul that doesn't need to prove, just perform in purpose. Humility keeps you learning, pride keeps you losing. When you use wisdom to serve God, you build something that lasts beyond your lifetime. Wealth fades, applause dies, but wisdom rooted in obedience echoes through eternity. Let your mind be sharp, but let your heart remain soft. Let your success point upward, not inward. The world will admire your knowledge, but heaven will reward your humility. Every time you use your wisdom to serve, you reflect the image of the master who taught you. Because in the end, greatness is not measured by what you know, but by whom you serve and how faithfully you do it. You've now walked through 7 timeless principles. Truths that bridge the sharpness of strategy with the gentleness of Scripture. You've learned that control of perception shapes opportunity, that mastering emotion brings stability, that alliances build acceleration, that power is a duty, not a weapon, that long-term vision creates legacy, that reputation sustains influence, and that wisdom without humility destroys both. Together, these truths form a framework for prosperity that is both practical and divine. Wealth, when guided by righteousness, becomes worship in motion. The world tells you that money is the goal, but God reminds you wisdom is the foundation. Wealth without wisdom collapses. Wisdom without obedience stagnates. True prosperity isn't how much you gain, but how much you grow. The mind renewed by truth, the heart anchored in faith, and the hands guided by purpose. This is the formula for enduring success. You are not called merely to make a living. You are called to make a difference. When your wealth serves your calling, you reflect the kingdom of heaven on earth. Proverbs 3:13-16 declares, "Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold." Every verse echoes the same message. Wisdom outlasts wealth. Money can buy comfort, but wisdom builds character. Money can change circumstances, but wisdom transforms generations. This is why some inherit riches and lose them, while others start with nothing and rise to abundance. The difference is understanding. True riches are built in the mind before they ever appear in the account. These 7 principles are not theories. They are eternal laws. They govern kingdoms, families, and futures. When you begin to live by them, you move differently. You speak with authority. You plan with precision. You build with intention. Life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. Each principle works like a seed. When planted in faith and watered with discipline, it grows into favor. God's word has always been more than spiritual comfort. It's an instruction manual for dominion. You must now decide which part of this message will define your next move. Which principle cut through your excuses and touched your spirit? Was it the power of self-mastery, the beauty of strategic partnerships, the discipline of patience, the strength of reputation, or the humility that anchors true wisdom? Write it down, reflect on it, speak it, and then live it. Because revelation without application is only entertainment. But when you act on it, it becomes transformation. Now pause for a moment and think, which of these principles spoke loudest to your soul? Was it learning to guard your name more than your gold? Was it the reminder that wisdom without humility leads to downfall? Or was it the call to take control of your emotions, your habits, and your destiny? Whatever it was, write it in the comments below. Don't let this be another video you simply watch. Make it one that changes your life. Your words might awaken someone else's purpose. Your comment could be the confirmation another believer needs to hear. This is how community begins. One revelation shared, one story told, one voice lifted. Before you leave, remember this. Wealth is not the proof of success. Stewardship is. God blesses what He can trust. Don't just pray for abundance. Prepare for it. Live with excellence, work with diligence, and walk with humility. Proverbs 10:22 reminds us, "The blessing of the Lord makes one rich, and He adds no sorrow with it." When your wealth carries no sorrow, it means it's rooted in wisdom. If this message stirred your spirit, hit the like button to help it reach more hearts. Subscribe if you're ready to rise. Share this message with a friend or family member seeking financial freedom rooted in faith. Together, we're building a generation that uses money to serve mission, not the other way around. Keep growing, keep giving, keep glorifying God. Your wisdom will make you wealthy, but your humility will make you unforgettable. This is your moment to rise, because the world is waiting for the kind of believer who walks in both wisdom and power. And that believer is you.